Hey guys, it's a rainy day again. In fact, I just moved all of the tomatoes and dahlias out of the cold frame so that I could move the other dahlias that were inside the house out into the cold frame to harden off. And not 20 minutes later did it start to hail. Not too bad, so I think everything's gonna be fine. But it's a great day to do some indoor gardening today. And so it's Flower Friday, happy Friday, and we are going to be sowing some seeds for the new cottage garden. Most of these are biennials and perennials. There might be a few annuals mixed in here. So I'm gonna go through first what I'm gonna be sowing today, and let me know in the comments what flowers you're going to be growing this year. Now, this can be flowers in a flower garden, a cottage garden, a cut flower garden, or great companion planting for your vegetable garden. So let me know in the comments what you're growing in terms of flowers. So today I'm going to be starting off with foxglove, and we're going to be growing a few different types of foxglove this year. I've got 3 different kinds of the traditional foxglove. I've got Camelot Mix, Dalmatian Peach Hybrid, and Dalmatian Rose Hybrid. So those are your traditional foxglove like you're all used to seeing, or like I'm used to seeing. But then there are a couple of different kinds. This one is Chinese foxglove. Now it is not a digitalis like your traditional foxglove. It's Rhamania angulata. Grows very similarly in terms of conditions, partial shade, moist soil. The other one, on the other hand, is Foxglove Sunset. Now, this is a digitalis. It just happens to be a warm, dry weather digitalis. And it's got a really great warm color. So this is going to be going in the Mediterranean garden. And it'll be great because full sun, not partial shade, full sun, dry soil, exactly what a Mediterranean garden calls for, exactly what these call for. Another one is just your basic echinacea. Now, I don't think you can have a cottage garden without some hollyhocks. So I've got a couple of different kinds here, 3 different kinds. I've got Majorette Double Champagne, Summer Carnival Pink, and Chatter's Double White. So those are going to go up right next to the front door of the cottage. Blue False Indigo, which actually I've had in the fridge for, I think, 3 weeks, whatever it said on the package. About 2 or 3 weeks. I've had it in the fridge. That is going to help it to germinate better. Magus, I have had that one in the fridge with that also. Agrostemma, Celine Sabella Carmine, Agastache Rose Mint, and then Lavender Hidcoat Blue. This lavender takes a little bit more moisture than your traditional Mediterranean lavender. This is an English lavender. And moving on, we've got a few different kinds of Nicotiana. Well, 2 different kinds, I guess. Nicotiana Scented Jasmine Alata. The other Nicotiana is Select Misty Dawn. I'm also growing Ageratum Blue Horizon and Hibiscus Lace Mix. Then I've got Verbena bonariensis. This is Vanity. A couple of different salvias. I've got Summer Jewel Pink and Salvia Fairy Queen. Okay, that's it for today as far as what I'm going to be sowing. Now, in the beginning of the year, when I've ordered all my seeds and they've all come in, I sort them by temperature. So I've got 3 envelopes here. The envelopes are 65 to 70, 70 to 75, and 75 to 85. So some of the cooler ones, the under 65, I will still start outdoors. And then I'm waiting just a little bit longer on the zinnias, which are the only ones I have in my 75 to 85, because they do like it warmer to germinate. And then when you're putting them out, they want it warmer. So I'm going to wait a few more weeks to start these, but I'll probably do a specific video on zinnias because they have a few little technicalities that make them just a little bit more high maintenance. Not bad if you know the tips. So I'll probably do a video specifically on those, but I've got Zinnia Zinderella Purple, Zinnia Zinderella Lilac, and then I have Zinnia Benary's Giant Lime. But again, I'm going to wait a few weeks on those. So let's head down to where I'm going to be germinating these, and I'll show you my setup down there, and we'll get started sowing. So I'm trying to be as organized as possible when doing this in the house and trying to keep things clean. I've tried to set up everything so that we can film this with as little mess as possible. I know Emily would appreciate that. So I've got 5 trays. Each tray has 4 rows of 6, so 24 in each. So I sorted my seeds into 5 piles for those trays. I've already done the labels, so I don't have to do them when my hands are all dirty. And then these two, the Foxglove Sunset and the Echinacea, they're going to grow in their own trays. Now, the reason they're going to be getting their own tray is I am using something that I have found this last fall. I started using them, and they have changed. They're game changers for my seed starting. And this is not a sponsored video. These are the self-watering trays, seedling trays from Gardener's Supply. And because I live in a dry climate, whether I'm starting indoors in the winter when it's dry, or whether I'm starting them outdoors almost at any time, it's usually dry, especially in the fall. And I can't tell you how many seedlings I've killed because of lack of water. There's other things going on. It gets hot. Sometimes they need to be done twice a day, especially outside. So when I found these and tried them, and last year I had such good germination. I showed you guys in a video the fall planting that I did. I didn't tell you what these were at that time because I don't like to talk about things unless I've used them and they were successful. Well, these were. So that's what I'm going to use. I'll show you how it works as we go along here. But Echinacea and then this Foxglove Sunset, I think this would keep them too moist because they are a plant that likes it to be a little drier. So I'm just not going to put them in there for this sowing. I'm going to sow 2 seeds in each cell. And then if they both germinate, then I can separate them and pot them up. So I'm just going to choose a pile. I'm going to start with the hollyhocks. I'm going to put my labels in first. And so I'm going to do 4 rows of 6 plants each, which will be 12 plants if they all germinate. So I'm going to do 3 of the hollyhocks and 1 of the blue false indigo. So I've already filled these with pre-moistened seed starting mix, and I use black gold. I got it on Amazon. I felt this was a good price, but any seed starting mix will do. A lot of people ask me if I disinfect my seed starting trays with bleach. And I think it's like a 10-to-1 ratio of water to bleach. Spray them all over and it cuts down on any diseases that might be harboring there. I've never done that. I have never had a problem. Now, I suppose if you have had an issue with disease in seed starting trays, like maybe last season, then that might be a good idea to do that. I just spray them out really hard, get all the gunk off of them, and then reuse them. Let me know what you guys do. Have you guys had problems with this before? All right, so I'm gonna just be very sparing with these seeds. I'm gonna plant 2 per cell. So like I said, you want the seed starting mix to be moist already. Now you want to squeeze it and have it hold together in your hand. Maybe a couple of drips of water come out, but you don't want water pouring out of that. That's too wet. So once you've got that, you can fill up the trays. I take another tray and push down on it to kind of compress it a little bit and then put a little bit more in and then lightly compress it again with another container. And I'm going to plant them in opposite corners. So if they both come up, there'll be some space to be able to separate them. These seeds are nice and big, so it's much easier to place them individually. Wait till we get to the foxglove seeds. That probably won't go this smoothly. Okay, now these are going to be planted or sowed 1/4 of an inch deep, so I'm going to push them down just a little bit. Just sprinkle a little bit over. Okay, now for the blue false indigo. Now this again was refrigerated for a few weeks. Now these are sown a 1/16 of an inch deep, which just means they're going to be, oh, they're not that small. So 1 in each corner. All right, now rather than covering these with soil, because it is such a tiny amount of soil, I'm going to be using some horticultural grade vermiculite, and this is going to be a very fine grade. Sometimes it comes a lot coarser. And I'm going to put it over everything. This helps with damping off as well. Damping off is a disease where your seedlings are up about that much and all of a sudden they look pinched by the soil line and they just fall over and die. It's a bacterial disease. This helps keep that from happening. Not 100% foolproof, but it works. And then we're going to put it over, it's going to be the only thing covering these false indigos. And what's great about this also is you can cover the seeds to keep moisture in, but it also lets light through, whereas the soil won't. So usually if they're planted shallow, they might need a little more light to germinate. They're going to get it even though they're covered up with vermiculite. So let me show you how this system works. So you have your cell tray. It also comes with a lower watering tray. This is waterproof, there's no holes. Then it comes with this, and it comes with this. This is a capillary mat, so this pulls water from underneath and pulls it up to where the soil can reach it. So you fill this with water, put this in, the water level is just below this platform. And then you lay this on top, and you fold this down underneath. So that touches the water, or it's in the water. This mat will wick that water onto the mat, keeps it wet all the time. And then when this sits on top of it, the soil will then wick that water from the mat. And it keeps these always at the perfect moisture level. You just need to, every few days, fill the water reservoir. It also comes with a humidity dome. Now, depending on what you're growing, you can start out just like this, but I want to speed this up. I want to keep these at 73-ish degrees all the time. So I have these heat mats here underneath, and they are set to 72, 73 degrees. I do recommend heat mats for anything other than cool season flowers and hardy annuals. You're going to get so much faster growth. You're going to get more vigorous growth from the very beginning, faster germination. My tomatoes germinated in 4 days, and I'm just noticing that my peppers have germinated in 5 days. And for peppers, that's quick. However, if you're going to be taking advantage of the heat for germination, you're not going to be using this part just yet. All we're going to be using is the cell tray and the humidity dome, because we don't want all of this space between the heat mat and the bottom of the seed tray. It's not going to get much of it at all. So if you want to keep the water catcher on there, you can do this and put it on there, but we don't need to worry about the watering platform that raises it up right now. Because with a humidity dome on top, you're not going to need it. You're not going to really need to water these past the very first time. So I still need to water these. I'm going to do that right now. Put the humidity dome on. And then the humidity dome stays on until you have about 50% germination. So another thing you want to look for, if you're planting 2 different types of plants in the same tray, you want to make sure when you look at the days to germination that they're similar. Within a few days, 2 days probably is good. Because when that is 50% germinated, you're going to take this off and not use it again. You don't want to keep too much humidity in there. It's going to cause disease. At that point, you can then fill this with water, put the platform on, make sure this end of the mat is down in the water, and place this back. Now they will be completely babysat for you. You don't have to worry about watering any more than every few days, just checking the water level in the reservoir. The humidity dome does not go back on it. Now, I'm not going to go through a big grow light talk here. I have a video that explains a grow light for every budget and how they are to be used. This is a professional grow light from Viper Spectra. which means it can be 12 to 18 inches above the leaves of the plant and still be okay. If you have more of a DIY put together or just a couple of fluorescent bulbs or something like that, those need to be within 2 to 3 inches of the plant's tops at all times. So I will link that video down below in case you have questions and you don't know much about grow lights. Once you're done with that video, you'll know everything you need to know and you'll pick the right one for your budget. Now I'm going to mist the top here. And this is the only time I will do this. And all this does is it moistens the vermiculite. It helps bring the vermiculite and the potting mix right in close, intimate contact with the seeds. But I won't do this again because this is not an efficient way of watering your seedlings once they're up. That's it. Now we'll move on to the next ones. Time for the foxglove, and I wanted to point out that sometimes you'll get seeds and they're called pelleted seeds. I can see if you can see these. I'm trying to get it to focus. They're so small, even pelleted, but pelleted, they're coated, each seed is coated in a little bit of like a clay material. And that's just so you can see them better, because can you imagine how small those would be if they weren't pelleted? So it's as easy as that. One more note on pelleted seed. Generally, regular seed lasts for years. If you keep them in a cool, dry location, years and years, there will be a little bit of degradation every few years, a little bit less germination rate, but for the most part, good germination. For pelleted seed though, for whatever reason, the process that it goes through to put that clay around each seed, it does diminish the germination rate a lot. So if you can, use your pelleted seed within the first year, at latest the second year. So that was my process for sowing the seed for our cottage garden. Now, what's great about a lot of these is they are perennial, so one sowing will last me forever, probably, because you can divide perennials later. But these will be in here for the next several weeks. They should mostly be germinated within the next 2 weeks. And then at that point, I will remove the humidity dome and put them on their wicking trays so I won't have to worry about watering them. I will leave a link in the description to these self-watering seed trays if you want to give them a try. If you've tried them before, let me know how they worked for you. If you learned something, please give the video a thumbs up, share it with a friend, subscribe if you haven't already, and I'll see you next time.